Hey Cody, we're all set downstairs. Are you ready to?
I did it! I found a house! Oh.
Greg, what are you doing?
He can't hear you.
Logan!
What?
I found a good one. This place looks terrible.
Nice. You need to go talk to the seller, dude.
What is he doing?
He's virtually wholesaling houses.
Why is he sitting on the ground?
I don't know. Greg, what are you doing?
Huh?
Why are you sitting on the ground?
I'm pulling weeds. This is incredible. It looks so real.
Dude, you can get a landscaping crew in the next level.
Oh, hey, the seller's at the front door. He's looking right at me.
Nice, go meet him, shake his hand.
Okay, I'm going to the seller. I'm going to shake his hand. Logan, I'm still holding the weeds.
You need to drop him.
It's not working. I'm reaching out and I'm trying to shake his hand.
What?
I gave him the weeds.
Dear God.
Now, obviously you don't need a virtual reality headset to do virtual wholesaling, but you do need some specialized knowledge, and that's exactly what you're going to get in this video. All right, we're going to cover what is virtual wholesaling. We're going to talk about the people that you need to enroll to complete virtual wholesale deals and the resources that you need. And we're even going to talk a little bit about how to pick a market to actually go into and do your virtual wholesaling in. And if you guys don't know me, I'm Cody Sperber. Welcome to Clever Investor Studios. I'm excited that you're here, especially if you're brand new. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please make sure you subscribe if you get some value out of this video. And let's dive on in. So, what is virtual wholesaling? Well, first off, you have to understand something. You can either invest in your own backyard or you can do it in another market. So virtual wholesaling is just like regular wholesaling, except for you're doing it in a virtual market. Now, why would somebody want to wholesale in another market? Well, maybe their direct mail response rates are, decreasing. Maybe it's a very competitive market. Maybe the prices in the area are just too high. If I was, let's say, in San Francisco, I wouldn't try to wholesale San Francisco properties, right? Multiple million dollar properties. I'd be trying to find a market where wholesaling and my return on my time and my energy, I was going to get a better return. So a lot of times people that are in more challenging markets decide to wholesale virtually so that way they can make more money using that same skill set. So let's just start at the beginning. First off, what is virtual wholesaling? Like I said, it's just like normal wholesaling, but you're doing it in another market. And if you don't know how the wholesale process works, I do have a lot of other training videos out there. I'll put a link somewhere up here that you can click and watch an entire training video on what is wholesaling and how all the steps work in wholesaling. And if you're brand new to the concept, I'm telling you, you're gonna wanna watch those videos because it's a super creative way to do no money down real estate. And if I was to just take 30 seconds and simplify what it is, basically what we're doing, we're not actually investing in real estate when you're wholesaling. What you're doing is controlling real estate and then using creative paperwork to control it and then flipping the paperwork over to a cash back-end buyer that's looking for a good deal. So it would be something like this. A seller who wants to sell becomes extremely motivated to sell. They went through a divorce, they're being relocated, they're facing foreclosure, they're behind on payments, there's some financial reason, or maybe the house is just old and ugly and outdated and it needs just too much work, and they've become motivated to sell and they have to make a choice. They can sell the traditional way, go to a real estate agent, list their house for sale, which typically has some upsides and downsides. The upsides is they might be able to get more money for their property, but the downside is it might take longer to sell, or they have to make repairs, or they have to do open houses and have all these people coming through the property. And when you're in a situation, and people find themselves in a situation all the time where they become really motivated. I'm not talking about normal motivation, I'm talking about super motivated. When they find themselves in a situation, getting cash quickly is a huge value for them, and they make a decision to sell their house below market value in order to get the cash quickly. And so what we do through marketing is we find these motivated sellers and we work out a deal to buy their property, and we fill out some paperwork. When you fill out a contract to buy somebody's property, even if you haven't purchased it yet, you still control the real estate to a certain extent. Even though your name's not on title, you haven't put up any money yet, you control the real estate. And then what you can do is you could take that paperwork and then shop it around to landlords and rehabbers, people actively looking for good deals that have more money than time to go find those deals. And a lot of times rehabbers, they source their inventory or their next opportunity from a wholesaler. And that's where you come in. So you find the seller, you put their house under contract, you find the buyer, and you play matchmaker, and you put the deal together. And as long as it's a good deal to everybody, and they win because they get out of a house and they get money, and they get it quickly. This buyer wins because they find a good deal that they can make money from, and they can go and get their next rental property or their next rehab. And then you win as the wholesaler for putting everybody together, and you can make a little bit of a wholesale markup or a wholesale fee. It's kind of like what Costco does, I guess. They buy really cheap stuff and they still sell it cheap, but they make a spread in between. So it's like that. But watch those videos if you want to understand all the steps in the process. But just imagine being in a market where it's really competitive, or you're struggling to get your marketing to really take hold, and you're not getting many calls on your marketing. What if you could go find a market outside of where you are, where there's lots of opportunities and there's lots of cash buyers looking for good deals? And if you put out direct mail, or you put out online advertising, or you did any marketing whatsoever, lots of calls came in, all right? Wouldn't it be cool if you could do that virtually from your laptop or your cell phone and just a Wi-Fi signal, and still be able to take advantage of those opportunities and make money? That's exactly what virtual wholesaling is. So the key is finding a market that has lots of cash buyer activity and low competition. You also want to find a market that has low barriers against wholesaling. And what I mean by that is there's some markets out there where the real estate agents and the realtors did such a good job lobbying against investors being able to wholesale that some of the title companies or the closing agents in the area, they don't really want to do assignments, and they don't really want to do double closes. And it's just a power play for real estate agents. They, like a place like Ohio, for instance, they kind of frown on wholesaling in general. So it might not be good for you to want to be, let's say, here in Arizona where I am, and want to do deals in a market where the realtor lobbyists did such a good job lobbying against realtor competition, i.e. being a wholesaler. So you want to find a market where it's really open for cash buyer activity and wholesale activity. You also want to find a market where the prices of the houses are low and the rent rates are strong. In other words, you want to find a market that has properties that are $100,000, $200,000 versus $500,000, $700,000, $1 million houses. All right, and that's just because cash buyers can afford to buy those types of properties. Lots of renters are available for those types of properties, and a lot of times you also want to find maybe a little bit older areas, because the more distressed the real estate is, the higher the chances the seller is willing to accept a discount. All right, so those are the types of things that you want to look for. All right, so now let's talk about what power team members are needed to successfully virtually wholesale in a virtual market. All right, there's really two key power team members that you're going to want to enroll and recruit onto your team. One is an investor-friendly closing agent, and the second one is either a local wholesaler or a local real estate agent, or just anybody that understands real estate that can be boots on the ground. So when you really think about what we're trying to accomplish is, we're here, and I'm going to use me for example. I'm here in Arizona, and I want to virtually invest in, let's say, St. Louis. I've never been to St. Louis. I don't know the local St. Louis landscape. I don't know how they close deals in St. Louis. I don't know whether or not St. Louis is an open market or a tight market, or if it's a good market for cash buyers and lots of cash buyer activity, but I got to figure all this out. So First and foremost, I got to get some power team members on my team so that way I can figure out all of these questions that I have about whether or not I should virtually invest in St. Louis or virtually wholesale in St. Louis. So let's talk about an investor-friendly closing agent. Every single state closes deals differently, right? Some states use a real estate attorney to close their transactions. In some states, like here in Arizona, use a title or escrow agent to close your deals. It's really, really important that you understand the closing process in that state that you want to do your virtual wholesaling in, because that's going to kind of determine whether or not you're going to be successful. For me, I like doing it in what I call trust deed states. And what that means is they use a closing agent or a title company to close deals. You could still virtually wholesale if there's an attorney closing. I just think it's easier if you're doing it in a trust deed state. So what you want to do is you want to find an investor-friendly closing agent in that area that understands how wholesalers think and operate. So for instance, they know what an assignment of contract is. They know what a double close method is. They're okay with doing double closes. They will give you an investor discount on your closing costs if you close multiple transactions with them. They're willing to kind of educate you on the nuances of closing deals in that state. They're really used to working with new real estate investors, and they're patient, and they'll explain things to you. And they'll even connect you with other people in the local area that can help you get deals done. So when I say investor friendly, that's really what I mean. I see a lot of new real estate investors kind of hit a wall because they call a random closing agent or a random title company and they say, hey, I want to, do no money down real estate, or I want to wholesale houses. And those title companies, they think very traditionally, right? They're in the box, and they get up against this challenge, and the title company says, we don't really like to close deals that way. And they think, oh my God, I must not be able to do this. But that's just not the case. They just need to keep going until they find an investor-friendly closing agent. Best way to find an investor-friendly closing agent is through another investor referral, right? Maybe find a local wholesaler in that area that's already doing a bunch of deals, or a local investor in that area. And I'm going to talk here in a minute about where to find them, and ask them where they're closing their deals at. And just get that referral and call the closing agent and introduce yourself and talk about what you're trying to accomplish. And if they say, yeah, I know assignments, yeah, I know double closes, yeah, I'll give you an investor discount, then you're on the right track. The next power team member is, like I said, boots on the ground, either a local wholesaler or a real estate agent. Could even be just somebody locally that you recruit, maybe a family member of yours or an old friend of yours, if you know any contacts there, that are willing to be your boots on the ground and actually go out and help you get these deals done. I would prefer to find somebody that knows real estate, understands wholesaling, right? And I'll tell you why here in a second. But I've also done virtual investing where I recruited somebody and kind of taught them from the ground up how to do deals in that area. And if you really think about what we're trying to accomplish, there's two sides to a transaction. There's the acquisition side. That's where we're going out and getting deals locked up and under contract. And then there's what we call the disposition side, and that's where we're actually flipping contracts out to cash buyers. All right? So for me, I like to do the acquisitions, right? Those are things that I could do virtually from my cell phone and my laptop. I can, dial for dollars. I can send out direct mail and get people to call me. I could do ringless voicemail, right? I could do a lot of marketing virtually, online or even offline, and get people to call me, and I can work the deals out and get the seller to a point where they're either said yes or about to say yes. And then I can have my boots on the ground actually go out to the property and maybe sign the final contract with the seller, or take pictures and video of the property. Maybe if they already have a buyer's list because they're already wholesaling in the local area, they could be my strategic disposition partner to help me move the deals. All right? That's why you want to find a local wholesaler or a local real estate agent that kind of understands real estate already, that can help you navigate the local market. So where would I find these people? Right? Well, first off, posts on Craigslist is a really great place to find them. On Zillow.com. My favorite is on Facebook groups. Right? There's a lot of online places where you can go to find these strategic partners. So let me give you an example. let's say I want to find local wholesalers in a market I've never been to before. I can go to Craigslist, I can go into the for sale by owner section, and I can go to the search bar and I can actually just search for words that only other wholesalers use. Words like after repaired value or ARV, right? Real estate agents really don't use that language, and neither do homeowners. That's a wholesaling term. Non-refundable earnest deposit, cash only. All right, that one could go either way, but cash only, non-refundable earnest deposit, investor special, those kind of things. And the listings that come up are typically going to be from other local wholesalers that are trying to move some properties. Call them up. You could do a couple things. You could say, hey, if I source deals, do you have a strong buyers list to actually help me move these deals? How many cash buyers are on your buyers list? Do you have a closing agent you can refer me to that understands working with wholesalers? All right, maybe ask them just point blank, how many wholesale deals have you closed? Try to get a gauge on whether they're a real player or just somebody that's kind of just getting started, or maybe somebody who's never even done a deal before. At least going in kind of what their credibility level is and their capability level is. Maybe even ask them, hey, what profit split would you like to see if I brought the deals to the table and you helped sell the deals? What kind of split would you like? Are you open to a 60-40 split, since I'm having to put out marketing and do a lot of the heavy lifting on the acquisitions? Are you willing to dispo it for only 40%? All right. Here, listen, co-wholesaling is what I would consider probably the easiest way to start virtual wholesaling. That way, you go and you leverage somebody else's relationships, you leverage their local knowledge, you leverage their cash buyers list, and they dispo the deals for you. You do acquisitions, they do dispositions, while you're building your cash buyer list in the area and building your relationships up in the area. And then eventually, if you want to take it all on, instead of doing deal splits, just do it all yourself at some point in the future. But the key is finding those two power team members first and foremost. That way, when you do find a deal, you'd be empowered to actually move it and get it closed and get paid quickly. All right, now let's talk about how to pick a market to do your virtual wholesaling in. You can keep it super simple and pick a market that you're already familiar with. Maybe it's one that you used to live in, or you have some family members live there. You can go to Google and you can Google top cities to invest in. Lots of places like US News and CNBC and Forbes, they all put out these articles where they kind of rank the top cities to live in. Maybe search top cities to live in 2019, or maybe top cities for real estate investors, and you're going to get a list. Once you have that list, what I would do next is go on to Facebook and search for various REI Facebook groups based on those cities. So you might say, like, let's say, I don't know, Phoenix, Arizona is one on the list. And so I would look at Phoenix, Arizona real estate investor groups on Facebook and try to find all the local investing groups going on in there. And I would infiltrate those groups and do some research on it. See what kind of activity is going on in those groups. Maybe ask some questions. Is there lots of cash buyer activity going on there? Is there lots of wholesale deals going on there? And if you get positive feedback, or you're seeing people post deal checks of all the deals they're closing there, then you know you're on the right track. Another thing that you can do is just test the markets. What I did when I was looking for a virtual market, I picked 10 markets that I thought I wanted to do some virtual investing in. And then what I did is I called up Listability, right? If you go to listability.com, they're a data provider, a list provider. And I said to them, by the way, if you tell them that you're with Cody over at Clever Investor, they'll hook you up and treat you real good. I send lots of clients their way. So I went to Listability. I bought 100 names of absentee owners with high equity in each one of those cities. And then I sent out 100 postcards. It was only, I don't know, $40 per city or whatever it was. It wasn't very much. It's about 45 cents a postcard, whatever that is. And I sent out in all 10 areas 100 postcards, and I had unique phone numbers for each one of those mail campaigns, and I just tracked the results. And what I realized is that Kansas City in Missouri, St. Louis in Missouri, a couple markets in Indiana, 1 or 2 markets in Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia, were some of the best results at that time. Now, this was maybe, I don't know, 2 years ago or something like that. So it might be different now. But we did this test and we got all this great feedback from a couple markets. Some markets totally bombed. And then we decided based on those test results which markets we were going to infiltrate and start doing virtual investing in. As soon as I identified the markets, next thing I did was I had to recruit or enroll some power team members. Once I got the power team members on board, then it was just figuring out how we wanted to do it. At the time, we were going to do deal splits with them or co-wholesale in those markets. So I found local wholesalers that already had a strong buyers list that were actively looking for deals. I became the deal sorcerer.
You're a wizard, Harry.
And I found the deals, they disposed the deals, and we split the profits. It was a beautiful relationship. I did deals in Texas, I did deals in St. Louis, I did deals in Florida, Indiana, I mean all over the country. And those markets were much more open than here in Phoenix. And I was getting a better return on my marketing dollars, I was getting a better return on our time, and plus I already was dominating my local market, so I was able to scale and get to the next level because I did some virtual wholesaling. Now you know, all right? Now you know. But knowing is only half the battle. I think I heard that from G.I. Joe or one of those cartoons at some point.
No, I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe! But it's not the information that's important. It's what you do with it. So I hope you take this and you run with it, you learn something, but you actually put it to use. I don't have anything else for this video. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this one. And until next time, I'm Cody Sperber, the Clever Investor. Signing off for now. Take care. Comb your hair. Sperber out. Hey, listen, while you're here, why don't you click the tab in the upper right-hand corner and grab my new book, How to Flip Houses with Little to No Money Down. It's a step-by-step guide on how I got wealthy in real estate and how you can too. Hope it helps. Oh, don't forget to watch the 2 videos also.